Hello there, beautiful souls and beautiful humans. How are you doing? Rosy Glow here with a little energy update for this upcoming full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And it also happens to fall on the same day where astrologically Beltane, which is the marriage of heaven and earth, of Father Sky and Mother Earth, are at their absolute most potent peak. This is happening within the same hour. So it is actually going to be on Friday evening in the UK between 6 and 7:30 p.m. And obviously this will affect different parts of the world at different times, but it is a very powerful, if subtle, eclipse. And I'm going to go into this now. So if you're new to me, welcome to this channel. Thanks so much for joining me for what is co-creating our reality. Manifesting StarPeace Utopia, or co-creating StarPeace Utopia, is where we come together to use the power of our imagination to co-create what we do want, a vision of the future that we would like to activate, that we would like to embody, that we would like to see in the world around us, and therefore co-create it into being by giving it the energy. And we do that from looking at what we don't want and transmuting it into what we do want. So if you're new to me, welcome. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting the notifications tab and the all videos tab so you know every time I am live. What I'm all about and what I get so passionate about is for everyone to realize just how powerful we are. We are all powerful co-creators of our reality. We've just been taught a lie. We've been taught that we're powerless. We've been taught that we're victims. We've been taught that we don't have the ability to shift things on a huge scale just by making one small change in our own lives. And that's what I really want to touch on today, because the change that we're really looking at, the one that we're being invited to presently, is to evolve beyond the toxic wounding that we inherited from our bloodlines, from our mother-father bonds, from our primary caretaker bonds, and to seed this idea, I am receiving unconditional love, which is the love of the Divine Mother, the love of the Divine Father. However, we cannot access this love if we have in our own lives, and this is true for most of us, I mean, all of us, I would say on some level, because it's part of the condition of being human, have experienced our own needs not being met when we were little, when we were babies, maybe when we were in the womb, certainly in the first 7 years of life. And this is the time when we're forming our expectations, our beliefs, and our decisions about the world around us. And what we do is we keep recreating that movie that we set early on before we even realize we do, and we keep living it. So every one of us is living our own version of a simulated reality, our own version of a Groundhog Day, if you like, which is same old, eat, sleep, rest, work, repeat. Or we are living our own version of the better it gets, which is like, wow, I love my life. This is so amazing. Look what's just happened. And then creating more of that. Now, if you like what I'm saying and you'd like more of that, then please do hit that like button. And know that when I come and I offer these world service, this light language transmission and the personal healing, which are the co-creation meditations I offer, and I'm talking to you about the one that's coming up next, you know, these are my gift to humanity, my gift to planet Earth. They're free. This is how you get to know me and to get to know the powers that I'm working with. And together we co-create a frequency that we can stabilize in. StarPeace as a concept is basically the opposite of Star Wars. It's moving beyond duality and this constant battle between good and evil into a unified consciousness, unified field, where everything coexists in harmony, where everything is allowed to coexist with the common intention, which is symbolized by us bringing our hands together and fingers pointing up towards source, towards all that is, upliftment rather than down. This is all about us seeking the highest good of all and the win-win-win in everything. So yes, I truly do believe we can have peace on this planet. I believe I was put on this earth to seed this idea in all of us. And I know there are many others like me who are here offering this out as an idea to piggyback on, to go, yeah, why not? And I would love to, at this opportunity, just to let you know about starpeaceconsciousness.com. If you look in the text box, you will see there is a link to it. I've created a manifesto, and this manifesto is one that if you believe in, if you want to subscribe to, you just add your name to it. Now, if we can get between 80 million and 800 million, if we are going to get, this is my reality, I'm co-creating it, between 80 and 800 million people to sign this declaration, to sign this manifesto, we create the tsunami wave of change, which is peace on earth. We do it because we're all focused on it. So again, if you like the sound of that, please do remember to head there and add your name to it. And you will also find more instructions on how you can shift your reality instantly through your own conscious will, and as a result have a different experience. This is what gets me out of bed in the morning, as does these energy updates. So let us actually speak a little bit about what's coming up. So when I received the message that this is now our time, as we're moving from the 3D paradigm, the matrix of fear, into the 5D paradigm, which is the divine matrix. It is the matrix of us being resolved humans, aware of our consciousness, aware of our soul truth, and choosing to co-create reality consciously, living the game of life consciously, rather than forgetting this is a game, because it is. Right? It might not seem it, especially if you're going through tremendous hardship right now. My heart does go out to you. But from the perspective of metaphysics, we are here as energy beings having a physical experience. And so if we want to shift things around, we have to shift our perception. So coming back to mummy and daddy, coming back to the idea that as star seeds, now if you're new to the concept, the idea of a star seed, as I understand it, is we are evolved beyond the conflicts that we are here on this earth to help shift, to help evolve beyond. We are souls that have already, in our own growth and our own consciousness, evolved beyond duality into oneness. Home isn't earth, but we have chosen to come here on a soul mission to support the ascension of humanity and to liberate the planet from the enslavement grid. And we've done it on a volunteer mission because we know what it's like to make this shift from the struggle paradigm into the thrive paradigm. And we want to offer that up as part of our growth too. And so as star seeds, and there are many, many of us, anyone who feels they're on an ascension path, anyone who considers yourself to be a light worker, an empath, someone who's here to support the shift, the global shift, you might even consider yourself an anarchist, right? All of us are here to basically say boo to the old world and yes, let's create something else out of this. And what happens is we get born into families and we buy back into the density of the family bloodline karma dramas. So what that basically means is even if we have evolved beyond the struggles that we have chosen to incarnate into, when we actually get in the physical body, in the womb of our mothers and we're born, we forget where we came from. We forget that we've already evolved beyond it. And that's part of the game of life, is the amnesia cloak. Okay, it's to create a level playing field and see if we can remember our mastery whilst we're here. But the point of this amazing full moon, this opportunity that we're in now, particularly this eclipse corridor, okay, which is actually the Libra axis, rather the Aries Libra axis rather than the Aries Scorpio. But the point is there have been 2 new moons in Aries this month, which means, this cycle, not this month. So we had one in March and one in April. And so the current full moon that's coming is one in Aries rather than Libra. Now, the last full moon, we seeded the intention, I am divine equanimity. Yeah, I am divine equilibrium. And what that was all about was being able to hold your center, no matter what is going on in the world, no matter what is happening in your life, to come back to the midline, to not constantly be at the beck and call of your emotions, to not constantly find yourself flying off the handle because you've got no ability to self-regulate. This is really important when we think of our own evolution as humans. Like, we become very needy of others because we don't know how to give ourselves what we need. Now, none of us on this planet are here to be an island. All of us are meant to coexist in community, in harmony with each other. We are all droplets in the ocean of the divine. We're individual droplets, but we exist in the whole. So when it actually comes to being here and to adopting the lessons of being able to be in this world but not of it, to see everything that's going on and then consider, okay, what is the part I want to play here? We then move into the gift that has been coming to us in the seeding of divine equilibrium and divine equanimity. We then get to move into the place where we say, all right, I've chosen these conditions, as challenging as they are. I have, on a soul level, given myself a test, and I've come to this earth for the joy of being able to shift, to create something new from something old, to help create liberation. And recognizing that duality says there's always one thing that's right and one thing that's wrong. As we move beyond duality into oneness, we accept that everything coexists, and it's what lens are you going to see through? What lens are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus through the lens of opportunity? Are you going to focus through the lens of lack? Are you going to focus through the lens of what good can come of this? Are you going to focus on the lens of I'm fucked, right? There's nothing I can do to help myself here. And it's really this difference from I can't to how can I. This is the kind of shift that humanity is making. So when we consider the 3 to 5D bridge, the bridge between the two realities, the being living in a fear-based simulation where there's something always outside of you that's more powerful than you, to the 5D frequency, which is I am my own power, I am my own authority, I make the choices internally, I shift my vibrational state, and I see changes in the world around me. The bridge between the two is actually the mind. And it's how you get the mind to work with the heart or not. So when we talk about the mind, we typically associate the mind with the brain. So it's our capacity to think, it's our capacity to process, it's our capacity to make sense of, it's our capacity to formulate. And we generally associate the heart with the soul, which is about feeling state. It is about energy. So in a way, you could say the feeling state of the heart, the soul, is the Shakti element. And the Shiva element is the mind, is the brain, is the concept of the boundaries for the energy to flow. And this is the relationship to Beltane. You think about Father Sky, Mother Earth. I mean, where did we come up with this idea that it's Mother Earth and Father Sky, right? Sky brings us the rain, it brings us the sun, it brings us the wind, it brings us all these different conditions that either support the earth to thrive or not, right? And it's about the balance between the two. So what we're preparing for on Friday is basically to allow ourselves to go through a process where we can truly welcome change, where we can stop resisting pain and recognize that pain has a purpose. And if we knew the gifts that we get from pain, we would never push it away the way we currently do. Okay, we wouldn't try and avoid it at all costs. Of course, we don't welcome it in the sense that we put ourselves in painful situations again and again, not learning lessons. But what we do is we say, all right, there is a blessing in every lesson. I'm willing to receive that blessing. Now, if you caught up with me when I shared the energy update for the new moon, then basically I offered a new moon activation. You can check that out on this channel as well. I was talking about all the different ways that when we come into 5D frequency, our mind is going to try and stop us. Our old way of seeing things is going to try and stop us. We're going to experience a limitation, go, oh, no, it's a sign I shouldn't do that, rather than, oh, I'm meeting some internal resistance. Let me see how I can move through that. Oh, the world is showing me around me that I'm scared of this change because it's creating some obstacles. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder how I'm going to help find my way through this. And this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about, is in this particular eclipse corridor, we have basically, we had a very similar setup about 10 years ago it was. So it was the October 2013 through to September 2015. It was a time that I mentioned what seemed like the best thing that ever happened to me was actually my opportunity to learn discernment and to remember that not all that glitters is gold. And it might seem as though I'm getting a dream coming true, but what was the cost of that dream? And if the cost is myself, it is my self-value, my self-worth, me having something on the outside but feeling like it's not enough on the inside, then that's not good enough. And at the same time, what I thought was the worst thing that could happen to me, which felt like I was basically being kicked out on the street and being made homeless by my family, which is not what was happening, but it's what it seemed like to me from the perspective I was in, ended up being the best thing that could possibly happen to me, because actually it allowed me to really stand on my own 2 feet, to access my own inner resources, and to discover just how powerful I am. And this is the gift now, my friends, because with eclipses typically come endings, unexpected endings. And if you check out foreverconscious.com, Tanaz's been talking about the numerological value of this particular full moon, which comes into 555. And 555 is like the number, I remember from Doreen Virtue, like fasten your seatbelt, sudden, change is happening, you're about to go vroom. So things have to end to allow new beginnings, right? You have to allow endings for beginnings. And when it comes to Scorpio, it's like the energy of the sting in the tail that is, in the end, the medicine you most need. And what it allows us to do with this particular new moon and full moon configuration, because remember, this is the second new moon in this lunar cycle in Aries. So it's almost like the higher octave of Aries, the mature Aries, right? The Aries that knows when you begin an adventure, it's exciting, but there'll always be things that you don't expect to come along. But it knows, it's learned from the past that it always found its way through to completion, right? So it's having an inner confidence that is based on substance rather than just a whim, hoping it's going to be okay. This version of Aries understands the value of hardship, understands the value of the challenges that arise. They're actually preparing you to be able to embrace, to have what you want. When it comes to this particular full moon, when it comes to Scorpio, what a lot of people don't know is the higher octave of Scorpio, the higher expression of the Scorpion is actually the eagle. So consider that, from this earthly creature through to this bird's eye view, which I talk about so much in my coaching. It's like, can you in any moment in your life take a step back and a step up and see the bird's eye view? Because when you see things from an objective perspective, when you see how everything's related, then you can accept the challenges that you need to encounter in order to get from where you are to where you want to be. As we're all pretty pain avoidant because we're scared, because we don't know how to deal with pain, we don't like to, go towards it, do we? We don't like to lean into our fears. We don't like to lean into discomfort. We're creatures of habit. We're going to avoid everything we can that we'd rather not experience at whatever cost. But the cost to us of that is we don't grow, we don't change. So the world we want to create, everyone knows what's wrong with this world. Okay, everyone knows that this world is based by and large an illusion that seems like a reality, right? But it seems to be built on greed. It seems to be built on lies. It seems to be built on corruption, on conflict. And when we actually re-examine history in the way it has been presented to us and what may well have happened that isn't quite the way we were told, we can get very, very angry when we realize we have been fed basically a story which we've bought because we're naive, because we're gullible, because you could say on a nicer level, we're innocent and we're trusting. Okay, so we've been told a lot of lies about the divine, about God. We've been told a lot of lies about science. We've been told a lot of lies about our origins. We've been told a lot of lies that we're just waking up to. And that's the beauty of embracing this eagle energy with this particular Scorpio full moon, because what this is really about is recognizing this one thing. There are loads and loads of attributes to eagles, and they're often used for sort of team training, team building as an example of an amazing creature on this planet. One of the things I find most fascinating is typically by the time an eagle gets to 40 years of age, it's really quite weak and it's not able to do what it used to do, but it's got a tremendous tenacious spirit. I mean, it will go down fighting rather than give up. And what it will do is it will take itself off somewhere very isolated and it will pull out every one of its feathers. It will literally make itself bald, right? And it will then smash its beak on a hard rock until it basically creates a new beak. So it smashes the old beak to reveal the new one. And what happens is once it's taken all of these feathers out, which is a painful process, right, is it then basically gets resurrected. It gets a second life. It lives another 30 years. It gets a new set of feathers. So it goes through this process of allowing the death of the old, allowing the resurrection that comes from letting go of the past. And we all need to do that. If we want to create a new reality, then we do need to let the old story go. Now, the old story has caused us a lot of pain, so we kind of pick at it, release everything we possibly can. We find ourselves bare, naked, vulnerable, right, to the elements. And there's a big element there with the five and the elements that are on this earth plane. And actually, then we go to a point of surrender that allows us to be reborn. So it's very similar to the phoenix rising out of the ashes. Just think about where we are this time of year, having just had Easter, just having had the story of the resurrection of Christ. And I've been talking a lot about the Christ codes. I've been talking a lot about the crystalline grid. I've been talking a lot about the different frequencies that are coming to this earth, that if we open ourselves to them, we can receive so much to help us create the new from the old. So we are the eagle, okay? And what the invitation with this particular full moon is about, certainly in the world service that we'll be sharing together, is the invitation to let go of the mommy and daddy wounding, to let go of, the way we live our lives, the way we've decided we are based on things that were said to us, things that were done to us, things that were expected of us, the way our own needs were denied or rejected. Maybe we were abandoned, maybe we were betrayed. But certainly we come to understand that the way that we view our parents is how we view the divine. If you found your dad was controlling and basically not very emotionally loving, then you're going to have a sense that Father God or Father Divine is similar, controlling and not very emotionally loving. If your mum was like, let's just say, competitive, if your mum gave 1 minute but was constantly critical the next, then you're going to have this expectation that Mother Divine is, you know, unloving in that respect. So critical, always trying to shift you, always being conditional in the way that love is given to you. So 1 minute something's going well, the next minute it's taken away, and you just don't know why. Now, our connection to source, all that is, to what created all of life well beyond this planet, well beyond this solar system, this galaxy, even this universe, is the frequency of love. Okay, it is pure love. And peace is an element of love. Now, a lot of the things that I talk about will just seem like pie in the sky to many of you. Okay, it'll be like, yeah, nice idea, but the real world is like this. I'm like, what real world? The world that everyone has basically bought into, the world that everyone has subscribed to because that's what you do. We're living in the era of the emperor has no clothes on. You know, the little boy in the story who dared to speak out and go, hey, you're all pretending that this emperor's got these wonderful robes on, but he's just naked and no one's told him. Well, this is the apocalypse. This is the big reveal. This is what each and every one of us who's waking up does. We go, oh, can no one see this? And certainly I know with my point of view that I thought for so long everyone could see what I can see, but they can't. Okay. And we get so caught up in worrying about what other people think of us. We get so caught up about worrying about other people's opinions that we never actually count our own enough. We never value our own enough and actually allow ourselves to truly be the divine child rather than the wounded child that goes, hey, I am a creator of my reality. I am choosing to create a different experience from this legacy. I'm choosing to thrive rather than survive. I'm choosing to overcome the challenges that till now have been defined me. I'm going to take these scars on my body and say, hey, these are basically the markers of my growth, of everything I have been through. And so this is all about how we shift our perspective. And there's one word I want to bring up, and that word is subjugation. How do you subjugate yourself? And by subjugating yourself, and you can look this up, I looked at the Cambridge University meaning, which you can search on a search engine and find, but it was about how we basically suppress our own truth to keep others happy. We subjugate ourselves, as the example given to our mother, to our mother's wishes. So she subjugated her own needs to keep her mother happy. How many of us have done that? Mum doesn't want me to do this, so I won't do it. Dad doesn't want me to drive a motorbike, so I won't drive a motorbike. You know, there's so much in terms of how we self-sacrifice in order to keep others happy. Where is this showing up in your world? Because the Scorpio sting, if you think about it, is when we kind of get to having enough. I've had enough. I've done this to myself too much, and then we snap. And the other interesting thing about the Scorpio energy is it's very much the energy of the underworld. And it's also the sort of darker spaces we go into. So it can be related to our desires, our addictions, the bits we don't like to talk to people about, right? The bits that we think, well, if people knew this about me, they wouldn't like me. And it's about bringing it all to light and going, you know what, I'm worthy of love no matter what. So my understanding of what we're being gifted here and this opportunity is basically to allow ourselves to let go without looking back of what really we've outgrown, we don't need anymore. So sudden change, sudden endings, when you say that to someone, it can seem really like, oh no, what's going to happen? I'm thinking, well, what would you like to happen? What kind of sudden endings could be amazing gifts to you right now? How could you see what happens as a gift and move forward with confidence that it has happened for a reason, that life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. All right, there's so many cliched statements. And if you haven't yet seen the last video that I actually made, which was about how to use fame and influence, fame and fortune for the highest good of all, lessons from Matthew McConaughey, check it out, because I took 4 of the most powerful thought leaders of our time, right, who have influenced the masses for a good 20 years or so, and I listened to everything they had said in the 5-hour live that Matthew had put together in The Art of Living, and I did a whole video on it, and I basically read out all the one-liners that are just so powerful, so uplifting, so like motivating. If you want, you know, something to kind of make you realize, yes, you can do it, and why wouldn't you do it? And of course you can make a shift in your life. You're doing it right now. There's a whole hour of it, all right? So check that out. And in order to prep for this coming Friday and to recognize the significance of Beltane and the Scorpio moon peaking around the same time, is, to me, it's the sudden ending. It's the disconnect from that old story that is the trauma story that we've all lived in for so long. It's been what holds us back. It's the tying the shoelaces to each other and tripping over ourselves again and again. It's the letting go of all of that, my friends, and basically inviting you to go, you know what? I am ready. I'm done with that. I'm ready now to embody receiving unconditional love. I'm ready to embody the belief that life does love me and it does want me to succeed. And all I have to do is dream my biggest dream and not worry about the how. And it's okay if I'm not sure what I want, I can ask for guidance. It's okay if I've been numb for so long that basically I've forgotten that I'm a soul having a physical experience. It's okay to have moments where I wobble, where I doubt, where I don't know which way I'm going. And then the way becomes clear again. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach for support. It's okay to recognize that, of course, as a human, I need connection with others. And I don't have to be in codependent, unhealthy relationships with others because I grew up around one. I can actually choose to be in a loving, unconditional connection with other, whether that's a friend, a colleague, a partner, by me owning my truth, owning what I want, speaking up for myself, not suppressing my truth in order to keep others happy. And in so doing, as I'm stepping fully into my authenticity, as I'm stepping fully into my truth and owning it, I'm met with more and more blessings. So what is unconditional love? Like, seriously, think about it. What does it mean to you? How would it show up in your life right now? Feel free to comment and let me know. What would receiving unconditional love mean for you? Because breathing in, receiving, breathing out, giving. If you receive unconditional love, then you can give unconditional love, right? It's just what happens. And so when we come together, when we receive the light language codes that are coming through, they will be to allow us to drop the old stories. They'll be to allow us to embrace endings in such a way that we feel excited about them rather than we dread them. We can wake up with curiosity, and we can open ourselves up to imagining a world where everyone feels they're receiving unconditional love. Everyone feels they are able to give unconditional love. That means that we can give without expectation, without condition. We're not the one that controls that. We don't need to control that. We can be generous with our energy because we're also boundaried with our energy. It's really powerful and beautiful stuff, okay? And it's there for you if you want it. So there's a couple of other bits that I just wanted to say very quickly. Now, if you are hearing me and loving what I'm saying, as I said, a lot of the work that I do is very much behind the scenes. It's working with influencers. It's working with those who are out in the world. They're supporting the world to shift perspective. And what I do with these beautiful souls is I invite them to shift their perspective to the highest octave, to the unified principle that allows them to truly recognize on the deepest level how they're co-creators of their reality. So whether you're a teacher, whether you're a therapist, whether you are an influencer in the public domain, a public figure, whether you're someone who's creating art, whether that's a movie, a TV series, you're a producer, an executive producer, you're someone who's putting something out into the world that others are then perceiving, others are then living, others are then experiencing. Just consider the vibrational legacy that you are leaving with those that watch it or listen or read. Does it uplift? Does it integrate? Does it educate? Does it create the possibility for more? Or does it actually bring people down? Does it limit our perspective of what else is possible? We're being invited to move beyond all of the paradigms that we currently know and embracing again the concept of the divine, whether you want to call it God or source, without the confines, if you like, of religion as we have known it in the patriarchal era, allows us to reunite with a divine concept that is a personal experience. So the fact that Beltane and Scorpio are basically the astrological peaks are happening so close to each other is that we get this reset almost from our preconception to the conditions that would be the ideal conditions for humanity, the ideal conditions for each and every human being to be conceived, to be grown in, to be given as a legacy, to do what with, right? We've generally been given the opportunity to grow through limitation. Now, what would happen if we were given the opportunity to grow with all the resources we could possibly need at our hands? We just need to learn how to use those resources wisely, how to seek them out, how to find them, how to conjure them, how to recognize they're already there. We just need to shift our perspective. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. So if there's anything in the world that is, at this present time of meaning to you. I mean, I know that there's tornadoes going on at the moment, Palm Springs. I know that there's, stuff that's scary going on in the world. There's always something scary going on in the world. We can bring healing to that. We can bring our love to it. We can bring our light to it. We can support an upliftment in those areas where it seems as though conflict is reigning supreme. Okay, I would love you to remember that just by directing your attention to something and seeing it as healed, you're helping to co-create that reality. You don't need to get caught up in the how. That will be revealed to those who need to know so that they can co-create it. But if we hold the vision, that's all that is needed at this point to help affect positive change everywhere. So when you join me live for these co-creations, please bear in mind they're not on the YouTube channel. You have to come into my Manifesting StarPeace Utopia Facebook group, or that's to catch the replay. You can actually use the sign up link below, so it's in the text box, to sign up to the Zoom room, which will then allow you to have access to speaking to me ahead of the live. So I get into the Zoom room. The pre-party starts at 1:45 p.m. BST, and then we go live at 1. So if you have anyone or anything you want to send healing to, you want to send energy and love to, I get to hear about it and I weave that into the co-creation. And as I said, we're just here truly at this point to help evolve beyond the wounds of our human conditioning, to evolve beyond the wounds that we inherited from mum and dad, whoever biologically created us and also whoever brought us up, so that we can truly experience the love of the divine as our truth, as Mother, Father, Divine, as this concept of the frequencies of Shakti and Shiva in abundance, working together so that we can co-create this physical reality, our very best dream awake, our very best idea of what is possible for our own joy, knowing that this is what contributes to the collective. And that's what this is all about, clearing the toxicity, making space for change. We'll be seeding these I am statements. I'm receiving unconditional love. I am receiving love unconditionally. I'm giving unconditional love. I am divine unconditional love. I am love. I am that I am. Very often we're incredibly suspicious of when love comes knocking on our door if we've been hurt before. We're looking for signs of what's going to hurt us again. Are they trustworthy? Are they not? And what ends up happening is because we're looking through the lens of woundedness, we create the conditions that are familiar to us. So even if someone's coming to us with the most wonderful intentions, because our perception is marred by our experiences of the past, we end up branding, shaping this being into something that's familiar, i.e. someone that has hurt us, and we create the conditions of being hurt again because we morph ourselves into being the version of ourselves that got wounded. And it's like another self-fulfilling prophecy that we are definitely ready to let go of. So if you're liking the sound of all of this, again, thank you so much for signing up. I'll put the link in the text box. You can subscribe, as I said, to the YouTube channel. Thank you for the likes and the notification tab, sign-ups, etc. Do join the StarPeace Facebook group because that's where I offer all the activations, and it's where I give you an opportunity to get to know me a little deeper, as we are in a sacred space where our manifesting can be so much more powerful. I would love you just to know one thing. You are incredibly powerful. What you think, what you feel matters. And it is okay at this point to know you have had a wounded past, but you're ready to evolve beyond it and to experience the you that is the resolved, okay, the higher octave, the unconditionally loved version of you that can unconditionally love others and see the world for what it is. A playground where we're each learning to take responsibility, to understand cause and effect, to come from the best possible place we can in our own intentions. That is the gift. So if you would like to know more about working with me, there is a link in the textbooks before to book a desire mapping call. And as I said, this is really not for everyone. I don't work with beginners, okay? I haven't got the capacity to do that. For you to be interested in working with me, typically you will have been on a spiritual path of awakening for at least 15 to 20 years. A lot of the people I work with are already teachers themselves, coaches, master coaches, etc. And they're just looking for someone they can truly trust to help them see what they cannot see, to hold the mirror up and go, hey, you know, these bits are here. And if you shift these bits now, you can have all the things that you actually want. What's in the way? Let's bring those fears up. Let's shift them. Let's co-create a new reality. And when I see those of tremendous power and influence working with me and seeing how they can affect even more change by coming from a more resolved place themselves, understanding more about how the world is working, and by that I mean beyond what we've been told, then we start to have a lot of fun. And that is where it's all at, my friends. So for now, have a lovely evening. I'm off to Santorini tomorrow morning. Well, actually, it's today. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And I will be sharing the live from Santorini for the full moon, lunar eclipse and Beltane world service, light language transmission and personal healing. So do tune into that Friday. That is the 5th of May. And it'll be at 1 p.m. BST. Again, sign up through the link in the text box below, and I will see you then. Loads and loads of love. Link might be in bio, but it's typically going to be below. Take care for now.